Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about something we've talked about a bunch in previous videos, but the problem seems to continue to escalate. And that's fake PS3 emulators on Android. At the time of filming, there are no PS3 emulators on Android, and it's gotten so bad here that the RPCS3 team has even had to say something. They say, "We are aware of several PS3 scam emulators roaming around, specifically for mobile platforms where the targeted audience doesn't understand much about tech. We remind that RPCS3 is not natively available for Android or iOS, and that we will not be porting it to these platforms. So if you were excited about RPCS3 on Android, I really wouldn't hold your breath here. And if you are trying to get PS3 on Android, right now there are no apps on the Google Play Store that'll do that. Now, in my opinion, Google Play is flooded with a whole bunch of fake emulator apps and ones that don't benefit the end gamer but benefit the so-called developer of them. Some of these are in early access so you can't rate them, but they will contain ads. So basically someone will download the emulator, try to get it to work, and in order to do so they have to watch those ads. And then the developer makes money off of people watching those ads, even though the emulator probably will never ever work. And this one is a little bit different here because it's not in early access, but it does contain ads. And over 500,000 people have downloaded it. And interestingly, it's got over a 1-star rating. It's sitting at 2.6 stars. This one is called PS3 Simulator. And if I scroll down, it says this PS3 emulator will allow you to experience and simulate the old PS3 on your Android phone. This emulator doesn't come with any games. It is only a simulator. And then it says important. This is not an emulator and it does not play any games. So why is this being downloaded so much and why does it have over a 1-star rating? This person says it's alright if you love the games on there, but two problems are the controls and the games itself. What if I don't like the games? The controls are a little off control when I press them, like a delay. This person, none of the games worked. When I launch a game, its graphics were very low and I just thought they didn't even put I. The effort for us to play PS3 games, they just rushed through it and didn't take their time. So anyways, here, I don't think this is a real PS3 emulator at all. For some more context, here's another one. PS3 EMU, PSX, PSP games. It does contain ads. It's got over 100,000 downloads. And it says right here, PS3 EMU is an emulator simulator that simulates the PS3. And if you take a look at the reviews here, interestingly, it's got a 2-star review. And this person says this app is fake. Ruined a perfectly good app by spamming it with ads. Can't even upload a game without getting 6 ads. And for even more context, here's another one. RPCSX emulator, PS3 emulator. Interestingly here, RPCSX is the name of a PS4 emulator, and it's definitely not on Android. Anyways, this one has over 100,000 downloads as well, and it does contain ads. Surprise, surprise. And this one says, well, it doesn't really say a whole lot if you go into features here. Personalize the placement and size of screens, customize the on-screen buttons, save and load the game state easily. I don't even know if that's true. Multiple disk image creator, and it supports ROMs and run PS2 ROM on x64 ARM devices. So yeah, well, this is the kind of landscape we've got. And for reference here, this also includes, and I think the whole reason for the RPCS3 tweet, and Station 3. This is supposedly a new PS3 emulator on Android, but it doesn't seem like it's real. Now, currently, the only real way to get PlayStation 3 emulation on Android is through another emulator, something like Winlator. So Winlator can be installed, which is a Windows emulator on Android, and then you install the real RPCS3 through that. Performance may take a massive hit because it's emulation within emulation. But at the same time, it's possible, and some people have some decent results. But moving on, and next up, we're talking about PlayStation 4 emulation with ShadPS4, and there's something here new that surfaced over on GitHub called ShadPS4 Alchemist. It's a mod manager and games launcher for ShadPS4, and it just got a brand new update. Now, it's worth pointing out that just like ShadPS4, ShadPS4 Alchemist is in very early stages of development, so don't expect it to run perfectly, expect some crashes and stuff not working as expected. At the same time, though, this is a pretty exciting new thing, and they say some of the planned features to come: a more automatic way of installing mods, drag and drop functionality, a list view and improved grid view, and Linux and Mac OS support. Now, if you are curious about this one and wanted to learn more about it, Brutal Sam has a full tutorial of the ShadPS4 Alchemist over on his YouTube channel. It is very thorough and pretty easy to follow along with. And speaking of mods, on a side note here, it appears that CJ has been modded into Bloodborne. And well, it's rendering very well, and it's surprising to see CJ in there. That'd be a very interesting gameplay experience. Next up, we're talking about Rockstar, and Rockstar has made a very surprising change to really affect Linux gamers in a very bad way. Grand Theft Auto 5 Online will no longer work on the Steam Deck or on Linux, and that's thanks to Rockstar making changes to the anti-cheat. So for the latest update for Grand Theft Auto 5, which is Title Update version 1.69, Rockstar says they've integrated BattlEye anti-cheat for GTA Online. Now, Linux does support BattlEye, but at the same time here, for some reason, this version of BattlEye isn't really supported. And they've also added an option to the Rockstar Games Launcher to disable BattlEye anti-cheat for story mode. So if you are on Linux, if you have the Steam Deck and you wanted to play this in story mode, you can, just not online. Now, if we head on over to the GTA 5 Steam store page and take a look at the Steam Deck compatibility, it is now listed as unsupported, which I think is a big blow to the Steam Deck and also for Linux gamers. I mean, this game used to work on Linux for the online portion at least, and now it doesn't. I don't know if Rockstar is going to fix this or if they even care, and I'm hoping they fix it here. But I'm also guessing the Linux player base for GTA 5 is probably a very small percentage in comparison with Windows. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. Now, I am hoping here, and I guess hoping without the expectation of anything, but I don't really expect them to do this, but I am hoping that they're going to offer refunds for Linux gamers. I mean, Linux gamers had the option to play online. Some of them probably bought Shark cards. And now they can't play online anymore because of BattlEye. In my opinion, this was a preventative measure. They didn't have to do this, but they decided to, and well, as a result, they broke compatibility for probably a lot of people. A small player base, but the player base for GTA 5 in general is still pretty large. Again, I don't know what's going on here. I'm hoping that they're going to fix this. This is just a bad move. And on a side note here, taking a look at the reviews on Steam, Grand Theft Auto 5 has a very positive overall review score with over 1.7 million reviews. And recently, it's also doing very well with a very positive review score with over 20,000 reviews. I don't even think the Linux gamers here are going to put a dent in the review score, but I do see a lot of thumbs downs from Linux users. Next up, we're talking about the upcoming Nintendo Switch 2, which may or may not have images leaked online. And they may or may not be accurate here. It's being speculated that they are accurate. It appears to be a little bit bigger than the existing Switch, have USB-C ports on the top and bottom of the screen. And the Joy-Cons are apparently going to connect with magnets. Now, if you are curious about this one and wanted to learn more about it, like everything I talk about, link will be in the description below right at the bottom. My news is open source. I don't hide any of my sources unless I'm specifically asked to, which is never. Anyways, here, I'm not necessarily sure if this is real or fake. I'm leaning more towards real. It was initially thought to be possibly fake. However, the original poster said they obtained a shell model from an accessory manufacturer at great cost, and then reverse engineered it to create a CAD model. So if you've seen these images, let me know your thoughts about them in the comments below. Do you think they're real? Do you think they're fake? And if they are real, what are your thoughts on the new Switch 2? And speaking about leaks, next up we're talking about Red Dead Redemption Remastered on Steam, and it appears that Rockstar may have leaked this game is headed to Steam. Over on SteamDB, they've picked up some metadata that Rockstar has uploaded here, and it says Red Dead Redemption 1 as per Rockstar Game Launcher. Now, there's no guarantee this game will hit Steam, but at the same time, that would be pretty exciting. Unless they put BattlEye on it and ruin Linux compatibility. Next up, we're talking about Nintendo Switch Online, and it appears that Mario Paint may be headed to NSO in the near future. According to Luigi Blood here, who did some data mining, they added additional support for the SNES Mouse. So they say here they added the ability to emulate the SNES Mouse on both controller ports. It used to be only on the first controller port, and there's code for configuring the behavior of the SNES Mouse between either original or something else. Now, unfortunately, I don't know if they're going to release Mario Paint on NSO, and if they do, I don't know if they're going to release a separate accessory like a mouse to control it, or if the mouse will be emulated via the joysticks and possibly the touchscreen. Who knows? But they say here that the SNES mouse support was there since day one, but on September 18th, they significantly reworked it. And it appears there's even NES 4-score support and SNES Super Multitap support, but there is no Super Scope support. Next up, we're talking about Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, and it appears that Sony will be talking about this game in the next state of play, considering it was just rated by the ESRB. Now, this game was initially released back in 2017, and it's already getting a remaster. And as far as I know, it's headed to the PS5 and also PC. It already looks pretty good, though. I'm surprised it's getting remastered. Moving on, and we're talking about Fedora Linux. And if you're a fan of Fedora Linux and a fan of being on the cutting edge of things, you might be a fan of Fedora Linux 41 Beta, which was just released. If you are curious about this one, again, like everything I talk about, link will be in the description below. Anyways, it features a Linux kernel 6.11 and GNOME 47. Now, since this is a beta release, you may experience some bugs and issues, and if you weren't willing to experience those bugs and issues, you can pick up the final release in about a month or so. That's when they're saying Fedora 41 is coming out. Next up is a quick heads up that Touch Arcade is shutting down, and for those who may not be aware, this is a mobile gaming news website. I've referenced them a few times in a few different videos here, and I am sad to see them go away. Touch Arcade has been around for a whopping 16 years, and the whole reason they're shutting down is because the site isn't making money anymore. They're not flooding it with advertisements, they're trying to keep it nice and clean to read, and well, that has resulted in its downfall. If you used to go to Touch Arcade, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. Next up, we're talking about Dead by Daylight, and it turns out that Dead by Daylight has canceled Project T, which is their PvE mode, due to unsatisfactory results. So they say right here in a community note, when we conceptualized Project T, we wanted to have players involved in it as early as possible, which led to the creation of the Insiders program. This approach has allowed us to get very early validation on the project's core design and gameplay, which is something that often comes much further into the production of a game. Following the playtest in July, we ran a thorough internal risk assessment from a product and commercial perspective. While a number of players expressed appreciation for what they played, unfortunately, the outcome of this deep analysis yielded unsatisfactory overall results. It's with a heavy heart that we announce that Project T has been cancelled. We want to thank you for your support throughout this journey. So it appears their PvE mode was a swing and a miss, but at least they tried. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. Did you have a chance to test this one out, and what were your thoughts about it? Did you enjoy it? Do you think it was garbage, and do you think it was going to be successful? Next up, we're talking about jgenesis, which is a cross-platform multi-console emulator supporting a number of 8-bit and 16-bit gaming consoles. For example, the Genesis and Mega Drive, Sega CD or Mega CD, Sega Master System, Game Gear, NES, SNES, Game Boy, and Sega 32X. So at the time of filming, jgenesis version 0.8.0 has just released, and in this release they've added in support for 32X emulation, with a caveat regarding performance. So they say all released 32X games plus Doom 32X Resurrection should be playable, except for the 6 FMV games that require Sega CD 32X combo. Additionally, in this update, there's significant audio quality improvements for the Genesis or Mega Drive and SNES, support for loading directly from zip and 7-zip files, and lots of Genesis Mega Drive bug fixes. Moving on, and if you're a fan of Skate 4, or rather now Skate, you might be excited to know that it's getting early access in 2025, and that may sound like it's a far ways away, but at the same time here, we're already in the middle of September in 2024, so it's not really too far away. It seems we're not going to have to wait too much longer for early access. And speaking about early access, next up we're talking about PlayStation 4 emulation with, yes, you guessed it, ShadPS4. We already talked about ShadPS4 in this video, but this news came in as I was filming. And apparently here PT is getting in-game. So it's booting, it's not near playable yet, and there are no graphics yet. But at the same time, we've got Bloodborne, and now we've got the unreleased PT. Now, for those who may not be aware, PT stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, or Playable Teaser, depending on how you want to interpret that. and it was technically released back in 2014, but it's not a full game. It's literally just a teaser. And it was a teaser for Silent Hills, which was ultimately canceled and removed from Konami. So copies of it are still out there, and it's nice to see it's booting on ShadPS4. And last up here, we're talking about Nintendo Switch emulation on Android with Strato. And Zero Kimchi has a brand new development build video comparing it with the public build that's currently out there. There's a pretty big difference between both videos. I know Strato has received some flack, well, some flack for two different reasons. One, some people are saying it's not near that great yet, and two, people are upset it hasn't officially released. There are some older builds out there available, but the development build seems to be considerably better than that. So Zero Kimchi's video has a whole bunch of gameplay examples in it, including Tears of the Kingdom, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Super Mario Wonder. There's also Link's Awakening, Rayman Legends, Pokemon Scarlet, and even more. Let me know your thoughts about Strato in the comments below. Do you think it's going to blow Yuzu out of the water? Do you think Yuzu's going to beat it? And how do you think it's going to compare overall for Switch emulation moving forward? But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.